Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
I have a valid court order here today requiring the sheriff, that's me, and the assistance of the police to vacate everyone from the building, and we will be locking the building.
Historic moment, folks. Historic moment. It's very historic. What's happening here right now, we would have never thought that this country could so fast slide into something like this. Young people, what you're seeing with your eyes here this morning, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't guard. This is what happens when you let those things slip. Let's open up the businesses. Let's allow people to live. And if there is an issue somewhere, and if the virus is somewhere in an area, let's be careful. We will isolate, like we did here at the beginning when they said we need to flatten the curve, which probably now is one of the most popular words in the dictionary. Flatten the curve. We did that. We closed down. But then very soon we found out there was something else behind it. And I am standing up for humanity at the peril of my life, whatever it takes. We have the Bible, like I said, we have the Charter, we have the Bill of Rights, we have the Criminal Code. What else do I need? Let us just be real Canadians, like the Honourable Diefenbaker said. Let us be free Canadians. Let's worship God. Let the people worship God, those that want to worship God. And let the businesses open up. Let the families live. Don't torture them any longer.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Aylmer, Ontario. And folks, I'm once again back at the Church of God. As you might notice, its sign has been vandalized by the oh-so-tolerant pro-lockdown people. And I regret to inform you that the Church of God on Friday, a judge agreed that it was time to put new locks on the exterior doors of the church. This is for allegedly continually violating the COVID-19 orders. Along with that order came fines of $117,000, including legal fees, to this church. And no, the church does not have that kind of money laying around in the collection plate. But as they say in show business, the show, or in this case the service, must go on. People are going to congregate outside Pastor Henry Hildebrandt. He is not bending the knee. It is a beautiful spring day, and one wonders what the next step is. You know that the haters will be here, the mainstream media, which in turn hates this church. They'll be here. Law enforcement will be here. The counter protesters will be here. And I know this will be a fantastic sermon today. I just wonder what the next step will be when it comes to trying to shut down Pastor Hildebrandt and the Church of God. In the meantime, let's see what the pastor has to say to his congregation.
I would like to take this opportunity and go worldwide and say, man, let's be real men. Let's lead. Let's lead again like it should be. Let's lead. Let's lead our families in a safe way. Let's be what we need to be. Different. Now we're seeing the people are waking up fast and saying, what is going on? I'm so sorry having to say it like this. We are making a mockery out of our law system. Our governments presently allow unelected health officials to force our judges to turn law-abiding citizens into criminals. I can't wait for the day where one of our premiers will rise up and act burly. Can't wait for one of them to get up and say, enough is enough.
Well, folks, I'm with Pastor Henry Hildebrandt. First of all, Pastor, awesome service, very appreciative crowd. I want to touch upon what you said at one point, which I think is so profound and is really the crux of the matter, and that is we have a legion of unelected, non-accountable public health officials that are suddenly invested with powers that they never should have had, including, in your case and in many others, going to a judge and getting your church, your place of worship, locked down, having locksmiths come in and lock you out of your own church. How did we get to this point?
That's what struck me this week, and that's why I know those might be strong words, but that's why I'm saying, what else is it but medical dictatorship? Because we have these unelected officials, like you said, we have them making a decision, and our government, who was elected to stand by the Constitution, it's all pushed aside. Like I said this morning, our scripture verses engraved in stone at the Peace Tower at Parliament. We have 25 scriptures apparently there. Where has that gone? It's very, very, very troubling. And then, like I said, when the health officials tell us what their proof is, it is no proof. It is no proof because of what they're bringing forth. The data they're bringing forth is not the cure that they are offering is way worse than the virus is.
Why is it that an outdoor religious gathering in Aylmer, Ontario is offside, but if these were Black Lives Matter demonstrators, the cops not only put their ticket books away, they bend a knee in solidarity?
Right, exactly. And none of us can help but to be reminded of that, what happened last year in the middle of the year when those gatherings were taking place. Why was that not an issue? Why was that not an issue? And why, if they said that these were super spreaders, if they were, why aren't they super spreaders? I mean, we see the people in Montreal on the streets, we see them somewhere else, and they have been in Toronto throughout the year, thousands of people. Of course, they don't report that, but I'm saying, why is there no super spreading? I have come to the conclusion, I say, okay, if you want to call this a super spreader event, it's spreading happiness. It's spreading happiness and normalcy.
Yeah, what is normal these days, indeed.
Right.
And another thing I want to touch upon, Pastor Hildebrandt, you were justifiably so, in my opinion, condemning the mainstream media. And I think we have witnessed such egregious, unfair coverage of your situation. I want to read the lead paragraph from the London Free Press about what happened on Friday. And it says, residents in this quaint town of 7,000 are reacting with relief after authorities padlocked the doors of the Church of God over its ongoing defiance of COVID-19 restrictions. This suggests to me, Pastor, that the people of Aylmer go to bed shaking like a leaf, thinking, oh my goodness, this Church of God, this super spreader event is going to bring death to us. Is this reality?
So I'm saying, if that was relief, what they saw, how must they feel today? Because here we are, and this is not the end of it. This is not the end of it. Actually, to be fair, and that is the biggest troublesome thing that we see today, is that the media does not cover it. It's not the truth, because in order for them to tell the truth, they would have to say there is some residents in Aylmer that are against it, and there's many that are supporting it, or at least report the truth. Tell the truth, because this does not tell the truth.
No, you're absolutely right. I think maybe you should be the editor of the London Free Press. Maybe we'd have more fair coverage.
Before they send it out, let's just spread truth. Let's just start spreading truth. And why does the mainstream media not want to tell? My question is, will you not tell, or why don't you tell when there's hundreds and thousands in the streets of Montreal? Let us know at least what did they want? What did the people want there? But to me, this smells so bad when I see not a word is said. But if there is two people, I'm sorry, but if there's two people that agree with Justin Trudeau, that makes world news. Why?
Indeed, maybe it's because, Pastor, that the media is in the tank for the Liberal Party. The CBC gets funded to the tune of $1.5 billion, $600 million for the newspapers. Maclean's gets funded. There's some other bailouts because they couldn't exist without that money. So you got to question, how can that not be a conflict of interest when the government is paying you for your journalism? You're really going to be more of a watchdog than, say, a lapdog?
Exactly. I think we have all seen very, very clearly that is a problem. They're paid by the government. They are their little puppies going around just telling what they want them to tell, recording what they want them to record, spreading what they want them to spread. We need media that will tell the truth and tell the complete truth. Tell us all what exactly is going on, and listen to the people. Listen to the people, because the government, the Constitution was created for the people, not for the government. So somebody needs to listen to the people and tell the government what the people is what the people are wanting.
And Pastor Hildebrandt, the other question I have is what we see as an ongoing odious trend on war on religion, and it's not just you. Look what happened last week, that shameful and dangerous takedown of Pastor Arthur Pawlowski out in Calgary, arrested on his knees on a wet highway that wasn't even closed. There was no reason for that kind of street theater. He's not a violent man by any means. Would you like to weigh in on how the Calgary police treated Arthur?
I think they're trying to make a case. I think they're trying to say, well, let's treat this way, and hopefully this will scare every other pastor in the country. Yeah. Except that it does the exact opposite. When we see that they treat somebody like that, I mean, animal-like, or I don't know what you want to call that, but to drag somebody. I mean, all it took is one little motorcycle to follow him to his home, turn their little lights on, and say, Pastor, we're giving you a ticket for this, or we're arresting you, or whatever. But do you want to make a scene? But you know what? That scene has helped the Christians so very much across this world, and not just the Christians. People have woken up and say, look, because yesterday it was Adam Scally, I'm saying figuratively speaking, yesterday was Adam Scally, today it's us. Who is it tomorrow? Tomorrow it's those people that today are mad that we're here. So I'm saying, people wake up, because your rights are taken. And Pastor Art was made an example of, for people to see, look, this is what happens when you do that. But did it work? No, it didn't. And it has never worked. When you oppress the people of God, they just multiply.
You know, I hope you're right. You brought in the name Adam Skelly of Adamson's Barbecue. We were there for all 3 days in late November, Pastor, and what we saw there, the mounted unit, it was literally all the king's horses and all the king's men coming in to shut him down. He was also given a bill afterwards for the law enforcement costs, $187,000. And to me, this was Dr. Eileen Davila, who I call the mayor. I think John Tory's the deputy mayor. I think she leads him around by the nose. But okay. I think that was her sending a message to all the other business people out there. If you dare do what this guy's doing, how do you like showing up on the 6 o'clock news, handcuffed and being thrown in a police cruiser? And it might have worked, because I've never seen any critical mass since then of businesses opening up. Do you think this is another tactic of the government, of bureaucrats, of health officials, and that is to use intimidation to scare people into complying?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, so they do that, they lock those doors. And then they add to that, here's your fine, here's the church's fine, and you'll pay our lawyers. I'm listening to it, and they're saying, okay, so the total comes to $117,000 that we're fining the church. What else do you think that is but to intimidate the rest of the country? What will happen? What will happen? I don't know. We don't have $117,000, but let me tell you something. It's not about the money. It's not about the money, because God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, the Bible says. So I'm saying, God knows why this is happening, and I say my part answer was this morning already here. Look at the people, because we couldn't nearly fit all these people in there, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So I'm sorry to say it like this, but it actually helped us out greatly. It's supposed to intimidate us, but it puts power in us. We're not a people of, God has not given us the spirit of fear. God has given us the spirit of power. So this just empowers us and tells us this is what the human family should be doing. I mean, listen to the children, listen to the young people. I mean, listen to the birds. They're joining right in. This is just what humanity should be doing.
And you know, Pastor, on that note, I kind of have some fear in my heart for you in terms of the fact that we know the people, the haters, the mainstream media, the police observing today's service, they don't like what you've done. I am fearful they will ramp up your harassment, the intimidation on you. You might be the next Pastor Arthur Pawlowski. Are you afraid about that?
I'll say this very respectfully. I am not afraid of it. If I did not have God, I would quit today. But because I have God, the Bible says in multiple places. What shall man do unto me? When my turn comes and I need to go to jail, then I'll go to jail. If my faith is not worth dying for, it's not worth living for.
Well said. And Pastor, again, I want to focus on the double standards at play here. You can't have a church service at your Church of God, and yet I believe it's 300, 400 meters down the road here. There's a no-frills supermarket. I don't begrudge they're open. Heck, we need food.
Absolutely.
Right? But if we go right now, I bet you it's filled to capacity. There's a lineup waiting to go outside the door. Again, we're always told it's science driving these initiatives. How is it that I can't go to a church, but I can get into a big box store and the virus won't affect me? How do you square that logic?
Sure. I think it's actually quite simple. Walmart is no threat to them. Norfolk store is no threat to them, but the churches are. The churches are a real threat to our government because they definitely do not want to recognize that there's a group of people that have a higher king over them than them, that have a higher power over them, and I assume that must be very intimidating.
It's fascinating, isn't it, Pastor? I mean, if we go back a century ago, in this province, it was prohibition. You had to go to something called a speakeasy, a room where illegal booze was served. Now, not only is liquor legal, but the government runs the booze racket and exempts themselves from, the COVID-19 closure regulations. The new speakeasies are churches, are gyms, places where people go for the health of the body and the health of the spirit and the mind. Don't you find this perversely ironic, how things have just gone so upside down in the space of a century?
Very, very ironic. Very ironic. And I think that is part of the reason why people are waking up, because it is just too obvious. It's just too obvious. Why is that open and this not? Yeah. What is going on here? So I look at things by nature. I'm a positive person. I look at things positively. So I don't want to believe that it is an attack on churches, but it just is, because they're making it so obvious that we see that it is, and the double standard is really, really bad. When we find out that the judges are somewhere on holidays, or this one is traveling and we weren't supposed to travel, and then this. All I can say is, if Jesus was here, he would show them, he would tell them, you hypocrite. And that's what, I don't hate them. I mean, I'm glad somebody's traveling. I wish just we all could do it, but don't tell us you can't, but this can be done.
I'm wondering, what has been the personal toll all this harassment and intimidation has taken on you and your family members?
Well, like you said, I'm a human being. These are arms, not wings. So it does hurt. It does hurt when they lock the building. It does hurt when they harass you. It does hurt when they put all kinds of posters in town and all kinds of lies about you and spread all kinds of things. It does hurt when they show things to our children and grandchildren that are very, very, very unbecoming. It does hurt, but it has strengthened my resolve. It has assured me that I'm doing something right, or else they wouldn't oppose it so strongly. And I can say today that I can look at them. I do not feel hatred. I can look them in the eye. I told an officer, I said, sir, just so you know, I'm standing up for your children and your grandchildren.
Okay, well, Pastor, the last word goes to you, to all those, whether it's law enforcement, judges, public health officials, protesters, haters online, to all those that want to see your church shut down, your congregation denied a place to worship. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I would say don't be jealous of us. Just do the same. Just do the same. Open up. Let's open up the businesses. Let's allow people to live. And if there is an issue somewhere, and if the virus is somewhere in an area, let's be careful. We will isolate, like we did here at the beginning when they said we need to flatten the curve, which probably now is one of the most popular words in the dictionary. Yeah. Flatten the curve. We did that. We closed down. But then very soon we found out there was something else behind it. And I am standing up for humanity at the peril of my life, whatever it takes. We have the Bible, like I said, we have the Charter, we have the Bill of Rights, we have the Criminal Code. What else do I need? Let us just be real Canadians, like the Honourable Diefenbaker said. Let us be free Canadians. Let's worship God. Let the people worship God, those that want to worship God. And let the businesses open up. Let the families live. Don't torture them any longer.
Okay, so this morning, we are here as legal as you can get. I mean, I'm a Canadian, my name is in here, and I'm a free Canadian, free to worship God, free to stand for what is right. Listen, the Constitution was created to protect the people from the government, not the other way around, not the other way around, not the way around, not the other way around. So we have the charter on our side. It says first, the very beginning, God is supreme and you will be worshiping. Listen, when our fathers came here, they said, let's make sure that no tyrants will ever do something. And they said, let's make sure we have it first. Free to worship God, free to assemble. Got the Bill of Rights right here. And if that wasn't enough, is there another one? Yes. So, called criminal code, and it says, if any judge, if anybody ever interferes with the people worshiping God, they are in contravention of the criminal code.
Well, folks, I'm with Salim Mansour. You probably recognize the name and the face. He ran for the People's Party of Canada in London. Salim, what did you make of the pastor's remarks today? I found it fascinating, and I think he was bang on, that we have unelected, non-accountable health officials going to judges and basically turning law-abiding citizens into criminals for things like this, a gathering.
The pastor's voice has become the trumpet of all of our voices that we cannot voice it. And pastor is, broadcasting what tens and thousands and millions of Canadians deep in their heart feel not at this moment, but for the past 1 year. There's nothing been like this before in our history, And yes, unelected health officials are imposing their distorted view of their Mickey Mouse science and making an experiment out of the people of Canada. And the worst criminals are our elected representatives.
Do you see, in terms of Pastor Hildebrandt, this situation escalating? I'm sure, the authorities, the police, the mainstream media, they're going to take a dim view of this gathering. Is that what awaits this pastor, being dragged away in a police car?
Well, here it is. You know who I am, so here it is. We have to parse the word. Escalating, we are people gathering together to worship. We are people gathering together to hold each other's hand. You know that I am a Muslim. Jesus is my Christ, Messiah, in the Quran. The Muslims have forgotten that. And this government and all the governments have been trading one people against the other to splinter and fragment it. What did Justin Trudeau say in October of 2015? He said, welcome to a Canada that is postmodern and without any core identity. Is that why Mackenzie King sent Canadians to die in the beaches of Dieppe? That we have no core identity?
He also said that back then that the budget will balance itself, and maybe with all these fines, maybe it will. Who knows? But Salim, always a pleasure to talk to you. Exit question, are you going to be running for the PPC in London whenever the next election is called?
Well, I'm waiting for the sound to ring in my ear, and I'm going to consult with the pastor.
Okay.
Because we have to, whether I run or don't run, we, the people, have to take back our country. That is, bring God back into our life. We have become a country that is godless. Its godlessness has become our faith, our religion, and we have to take it back.
Well, it seems that following God is illegal increasingly in Canada, which is a downright shame.
Well, I mean, it is illegal, and the people who have made it illegal, they're following the demon. That is their God. You can't have it both ways. I mean, there is no, in the cosmos, a vacuum. So if they want to create a vacuum for us, that is, worshiping God is illegal, then the question goes back to them. What is it that you stand? What is your premise? What is your axiom from which you make your move?
Salim, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you probably heard the news by now. YouTube is undoubtedly coming to kill us. They have completely demonetized us. The other day, they gave us a strike for no good reason whatsoever. So please, we want you to stay in touch with Rebel News. Go to rebelnews.com. That's rebelnews.com. We need some of your personal information, such as your email or cell phone number. Trust me, we don't share that with anyone, but we want to remain relevant to you, and we can't depend on YouTube any longer.